Today we're diving into a really powerful story about growth, about persistence, and believe it or not, about a very stubborn wall. It's called the gardener's wall. You know that feeling, right? That sense of being completely stuck? You try, you push, you put in all this work, but you just keep ending up in the exact same spot, staring at the exact same obstacle. It's so frustrating, and it's really easy to start thinking the obstacle itself is the problem. But what if that obstacle is actually the solution? This whole idea is right at the heart of this beautiful story about a grandfather, his garden, and a crumbling brick wall that honestly teaches us pretty much everything we need to know about what it really takes to grow. So picture this. Every single spring, this grandfather plants morning glories at the base of this old wall. And every year, like clockwork, the vines shoot up, they look great, full of promise, only to stop climbing at the exact same height before just withering away. Year after year, it's the same story. And this unchanging pattern of failure, well, that brings us to the first crucial lesson from the garden, the unchanging challenge. So, after watching this happen again, the grandchild gets impatient and just says, "It's the wall's fault. It's too rough." And isn't that our first instinct? To blame the external thing? To just wish the world would make things a little easier for us? But the grandfather, he sees it completely differently. And boom, there it is. The first huge insight. The challenge itself is a constant. The wall isn't going anywhere. We are the variable. Real growth doesn't come from the world shrinking its demands. No way. It comes from us growing stronger to meet them. So the lesson here? Stop asking, why is this so hard? And start asking, okay, how do I need to change? But the story doesn't stop there. Oh no. The next year, the grandfather decides to try a little experiment, which leads us to our second big lesson, what I like to call the trellis trap. So he goes and places this small wooden trellis against the wall, a little shortcut to help the vines get started. And at first, it works. Man, the vines race up this easy path way faster than they ever had before. But as soon as they reach the top of the trellis, their journey just ends. They sprawl out sideways, wither, and die, never getting an inch closer to the top of the actual wall. And right here, we see the problem with shortcuts. That trellis represents all those easy support systems we're always looking for. Yeah, they give you a quick boost, but they don't build that deep foundational strength you need for the real challenge. And in the end, that easy path was just a dead end. I mean, this just illustrates the difference so perfectly. The trellis was a temporary, artificial support. It was fake. What the vines truly needed was a permanent foundation, something built from their own hard-won struggle. And this is where the story gets really good. Okay, let's look at lesson number 3, a ladder of failures. This is where the story reveals its most powerful secret. The following spring, the grandfather doesn't clear away the dead, brittle vines from all those previous failed attempts. Nope, he just leaves them there. And when the new shoots emerge, something absolutely incredible happens. They start to climb over the remnants of their own history, gripping onto the tangled remains of past failures. You can just see it happening, can't you? The new growth, full of life, finds its footing on the very thing that came before it and failed. Those old, dead vines had anchored themselves into the rough mortar of the wall, creating this lattice, a living ladder. And using that foundation, the new vine finally makes it over the top. And this is the ultimate lesson. The failures weren't waste. They weren't setbacks. They were the raw material. The struggles, the mistakes, the parts that broke off and died, they became the permanent, essential path to success. The years of failure were the only reason for the final victory. So, what can we take away from the gardener's wall? What will you build with your own experiences? It really all boils down to 3 timeless truths. First, the obstacle in front of you probably isn't going to change, so you have to. Second, watch out for shortcuts and easy supports. They often stop you from building the real strength you're going to need. And most importantly, every single one of your past failures is the very material you have to use to build your future. You see, progress isn't some clean, straight line. It's a messy, cumulative process where the brittle, dead parts of your own history become the footholds for your next great climb. So the question isn't whether you failed. We all have. The real question is, what are you going to build with it?